Hello everyone, in this video we will be discussing IP addressing. There is another topic from computer networks. We have already discussed 3 more topics. You can refer the video if you want. So let's move on to what is IP addressing. Okay, IP addressing. Okay, let's move on to what is an IP address. IP address is a logical address. We can say it as a logical address. Okay. Logical address. In the previous video, I have discussed what is a logical address and what is a physical address. So IP address is a logical address. It is of two types, IPv4 and IPv6. That is a version 4 and version 6 of the IP addressing. Okay. Now, what is the difference in this? That number of bits in IPv4 is 32 bits. We will be mainly focusing on IPv4 only. And in IPv6, it is, 128 bits. Okay. Okay, IPv4 is written in dotted decimal format. It is written in dotted decimal format. I'll show you what is dotted decimal format. And IPv6 is hexadecimal colon. Okay, hexadecimal colon format. Okay, so let's see how it is written. This is this is IP address. It is IPv4 address. It is written in dotted decimal. That is 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 numbers which are separated by a dot. So it is IPv4. Okay. Now see, it is IPv6. There are hexadecimal. It is denoted in hexadecimal format. So it is IPv6. You have to remember these two things only about IPv6, that it is 128 bits long and it is in hexadecimal colon notation. Okay, let's move on to what is IPv4. Okay, we all know IPv4. I said it is 32 bit long. Okay, in this 32 bit is divided into 4 octets. Okay, 4 octets. So first octet would be containing 8 bits. 8 bit, 8 bit, 8 bit, 8 bit, and they are separated by a dot. Okay, this is how the IP address is denoted. Okay, so if there are 8 bits, so the number of possible value is 2 to the power 8 here, 2 to the power 8 here, 2 to the power 8 here, 2 to the power 8 here. Okay, so value in the first octet can range from 0 to 225. Okay, value in the second octet can range from 0 to 225. The same way in third can range from 0 to 225. 0 to 225. Okay, 2 to the power 8 is what? 255. 0 to 255. 2 to the power 8 is what? 256. The total is 256. So 0 to 225 would be the range of the values in each octet. Okay. So let's move on to IPv4 further discussion. Okay, so IPv4 is divided into 4 classes, that is A, B, C, D and E, and we can classify these. These classes are classified on the basis of the value of the first octet. We have 4 octets, 1, 2, 3 and 4. So value of the first octet, the range of the value of the first octet would decide which class the address belongs to. Okay, the range of the first octet would decide which class the address belongs to. Let's see what is the range of, I told you the range can vary from 0 to 225. Okay, let's see the range of A. For class A, the range is 0 to 127. Okay, so here it can be any value from 0 to 225, any value from 0 to 255. Sorry, I'm always saying 225. It is 0 to 255. Okay, so what can be the range of class A? It is 0.0.0 to 127.255.255.255. Let's see for class B. For class B, the range is from 128 to 191. Here it can be from 0 to 255, 255 and 0 to 255. The range of the class B would be 128.0.0.0 to 191.255.255.255. Okay, it is the range of class B. Similarly, the range of class C is from 192 to 223. Okay, and the address would be 192.0.0.0 to 223.255.255.255. You have to remember these things. This is very important. You have to remember. One question can be there. Okay, for class D, the range is from 224 to 239. So it is there. Okay, and class E, the range is from 240 to 255. 255 the last number. So it is for class E. Okay, mainly we would be discussing about these three classes only, not about these two. Okay, these three are mainly involved in networking. Okay, so let's see now. See the next topic. Okay, now we will be discussing about the net ID and host ID. Okay, these are the four octets, that is 8-bit each, 8-bit each in octet. Okay, now the net ID for class A, that is, see, there are two IDs, one is a net and another is a host ID. Net ID is decided by the internet service provider, ISP, internet service provider, okay, and the host ID, it is decided by the administrator of any organization. Okay, it is decided by the administrator. Host ID is by the administrator. For class A, the first octet is the net ID and the second octet is the host ID. That is, for class A it would be net ID dot host ID dot host ID dot host ID. Okay, for class A is this. So the number of hosts in class A would be 2 to the power 24 minus 2. So these are the number of hosts. Okay, the minus 2 is there because we will leave the first and the last address. Always leave first and last address. Okay, the minus 2 is that one. So for class A, the first octet is the net ID and remaining is the host ID. Okay, so now class B, these two are the net ID and remaining two are the host ID. These are the host IDs. Okay, so for class 2 the range would be 2 to the power 16 minus 2. These are the number of hosts. Okay, and for class C, this and this are the net ID and this is the host ID. Okay, this is the host ID. So for class there are 2 to the power 8 minus 2 is the number of hosts. Okay, this won't be applicable to these two. Okay, now let's see what. See, for class A we can accommodate 2 to the power around approximately equal to 2 to the power 24 hosts. So it can be used for large organizations where the number of organization, I'll write it, number of employees are very large. Okay, and class B, it is approximately equal to 2 to the power 16. So it is for mid-sized organizations. Okay, and class C, it is 2 to the power 8. So it is for small organizations. So you should remember this, small organizations. Okay, and class D, see, in class D we would use everything. The whole thing is the network ID only. So class D is for multicasting. And the class E is reserved for future use or experimental use. Okay, so I can conclude that A, B and C, this is for unicast. Okay, D is for multicast and E is reserved. Okay, why A is used for large organization, I have explained, because it can accommodate 2 to the power 24 hosts. B is for small and B is for mid-size and C is for small. Okay, this was all about net ID and host ID. Let's move to the next topic. And we have two types of addresses, public IP addresses, that is, one is the public and another is the private. Now let's see what is a public IP address. Okay, the public IP address is assigned to a device which is directly connected to the computer. If a device is direct access, it is directly connected to over the internet. Okay, those addresses are called public. Okay, the example can be okay, a public address is globally unique. It is globally unique. You have to remember two things: the direct access over the internet, and they are globally unique. Okay, so one example. Let's take the example for this: the web servers. Okay, and email servers and devices and email servers and devices which are directly accessible from internet. Okay, and the devices which are directly accessible from internet. For example, the system on which I am using, it is not assigned a public IP address? Because it is not directly connected to the internet. It is connected via some router that is provided by the internet service provider. Okay, so the web servers and email servers come in the category of public IP address. So you have to remember two things: they are globally unique. Okay, they are unique, and they allow direct access over the internet. Or examples are web servers and email servers. Now let's move on to the next, that is a private IP address. Now what is a private IP address? Okay, it is allocated by the internal NIC, network interface card, to allow organization to create their own private network. Okay, it is allocated by the NIC, network interface card. It is not allocated by internet service provider, it is allocated by NIC. And when a computer, suppose in a system, suppose we have I'll write it over somewhere over here. In a system, suppose we have in a LAN, suppose we have two systems, 1, 2, 3. Okay, if these systems have to communicate with each other, they are within LAN, same LAN. Okay, they can use the private IP address to communicate with each other. Okay, they don't need the systems or the devices which are communicated in the same LAN, they are not local devices, and they communicate through the private IP address. Okay, they can communicate with each other with the private IP address, and there are some IP address reserved for each class. Private IP address reserved for each class. You have to remember this by heart. It is very important. It is very, very important. I'll put double star over here. It is very, very important. So the IP address which is reserved as a private for class A ranges from 10.0.0.0 to 10.255.255.255. Okay, for class B it is 172.16.00 to 172.31.255. For class C it is 192.168.0.0 to 192.168.0.0.255. You can see this, you can check it with your system also. Your system would be having either this in this range only. Okay, because they are connected, they are not directly connected to the internet. If they are directly connected to the internet, then they would not have in this range. They would have a public IP address. If they are not directly connected to the internet, they would be having the IP address in this range only. Okay, suppose we have two LANs. That is a LAN 1 and this is a LAN 2, and here we have some systems. Okay, if this LAN want to communicate with the system in this LAN, so how would they communicate? They cannot communicate using private IP address. They have to use the public IP address of the router. They have to use the public IP address of the router. Okay, this is the router. They have to use the public IP address of the router to communicate. Okay, that is it is the device residing outside your LAN cannot directly communicate via the private, but use the public IP address of the router to communicate. Public IP address of router. Sorry, it is of router to communicate. Okay, you understood what it is? We have to learn the ranges for public IP address. You have to learn the ranges for all the classes, and you have to know about the network ID and host ID. It is very important. Okay. Next, move on to the another topic, that is APIPA. What is APIPA? It is Automatic Private Internet Protocol Address. Automatic. It is also a private internet protocol address. It is also private. It also comes in the range of private only. Okay, it is a class B address only. Okay, now when this address is generated, okay, when DHCP is a dynamic host configuration protocol, it is unable to generate IP. When it is not able to. It should be not able. When DHCP is not able to generate an IP, then NIC network interface card automatically generate an IP address, and this is known as APIPA. It generates IP address on the range of class B. Class B IP address is generated, and it is also very important. Please learn it by heart, and the range is 169.254.0.0 to 169.254.255.254. Okay, you can remember like this. You have to remember 169 and 254. It is .0 to the last address, but it is -1 because last address we would use it for something else. Okay, first and the last addresses. So it is the range of APIPA. So you have to remember it. It is very important. It is very important. Okay, there may be a question. Okay. The next is the loopback address. Now, what is a loopback address? So, it is loopback address is the address that is that shows the operating system connection with OS connection with NIC. OS connection with NIC. OS connection with NIC. Now, what is this? Sometimes we call it as local host. Local host. Sometimes we call it as local host. Sorry. I'll write it as local host. Sometimes we call it as local host. You all must be knowing we generally use this address for local host 1.0.01. It is a common address for local host. Okay, but loopback address as a range, you have to remember this. The whole series of 127, that is 127.0.0.0 to 127.255.255.255.255.255. This whole range is reserved for loopback addresses. So this is all about IP addressing. So you can refer this once again if you have any confusion. I hope everything is clear to you. Okay, thank you and kindly subscribe.